Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell wasted no time counting up all the political benefits for his party from the Kavanaugh fight.
Well, it certainly had a good impact for us. The tactics that have been employed both by Judiciary Committee Democratic senators and by the virtual mob that's assaulted all of us in the course of this process has turned our base on fire.
The mob. New polls show McConnell may be right. Before the hearings in July, 68% of Republican voters said the November midterms were very important. After the hearings, that number jumped to 80%. But it's not just Republicans who are focused on November after the Kavanaugh fight. With me now is former Florida Congressman David Jolly and MSNBC political analyst Jason Johnson. David, I'm going to go to you first. You know, before these hearings, the media was still able to pretend there is a moderate wing of the Republican Party. I think you're the moderate wing of the Republican Party, and you ain't in the party anymore. You're not in politics. There is no moderate wing of the party. Can we now throw that notion into the dustbin of history?
Yeah, this is it. This is the closing chapter on that. And as I said last night, Susan Collins is not a moderate, Bob Corker is not a maverick, and Jeff Flake is not going to be the next Republican president of the United States. This is a fiction that one thing we have learned through the Kavanaugh process is there is no moderate wing of the Republican Party anymore.
And can I play Donald Trump? He's on Air Force One. He gives an interview with reporters. He's asked what message the Kavanaugh nomination, the wrenching Kavanaugh nomination, sends to women. And this is his answer.
What is your message today to the women across this country who are feeling devastated, feeling like the message that's been sent here is that they're not being...
I don't think they are. I think actually that women, if you look at the biggest fans, and I can tell you that the people that spoke to me most, really in the strongest of terms, were in his favor were women. Women were outraged at what happened to Brett Kavanaugh. Outraged.
If the producer could just thank you, put back up those protests. If you guys can reel up some of the tape from earlier today. Jason, Donald Trump says that the women who were out there, people who are trying to literally storm the Supreme Court, don't exist, that you didn't see them. This is classic autocrat behavior. You didn't see them, and if you did, they were protesting for me, not against me.
Yeah, what are you, maybe you're going to believe what I say, or you're going to believe your own eyes, right? He's like every other abusive man out there. Yeah. Women don't exist. Their opinions don't exist. And here's, or they're led by some evil anti-Semitic cabal by George Soros. I mean, that's the problem with how this has happened is the way in which the people who have legitimate concerns about Kavanaugh have been absolutely demonized by the Republican Party. And now you put someone on the court who has made it abundantly clear through his speech that he's basically going to take revenge on any and everybody who he feels wronged him in this process. So this whole thing is damaging, and electorally, everyone has to, basically, it's not that this midterm election is important. People are going to have to vote now because who knows what could happen to voting rights with a Kavanaugh on the Supreme Court, given some of the issues that they're going to be facing in the next year and a half.
Yeah, if Justice Roberts is the moderate we have to count on, well, that's the guy who gutted the Voting Rights Act. I'm not sure people should feel that comfortable. David Jolly, you now have Republicans essentially down to essentially white Americans, white conservative men and women. They are pulling that they're making that tent smaller and smaller and smaller. But in their mind, it's worth it. Can the Republican Party survive long term if they just go down to the hard-bitten people who feel incredibly enraged about President Obama ever being president and who want Donald Trump to burn it all to the ground?
No, they can't. Once again, let's revisit that Republicans have only won the popular vote for the presidency one time in the last 28 years. They are losing the electoral and the demographic trend of the country, and instead of trying to address the gap and why they are losing it, they are doubling down on the few voters they have. Look, we've been speaking about voter intensity, GOP intensity in the last week, and there's something very important to understand about this, and I think Republicans are miscalculating this as well. The spike in GOP intensity means that Republican voters are more excited to support Republican candidates. It does not mean that the Republican Party is attracting more voters. The voters they are going to lose through this Kavanaugh process are the women you just described, who say, I just saw a United States Senate largely of white male Republican men say, we don't believe women. And in fact, they took the message further and said, not only do we not believe the women, but this has become a war on young, privileged white men. That message doesn't sell in most communities.
Yeah, can we just put that picture back up of the swearing in? If we could put that back up. Because, Jason, what Republicans are essentially arguing is that getting that picture is worth it, right?
Yeah.
That for the Republican base, that's it. That's all they care about is getting that. And that no matter what women had to go through, too bad, so sad, you were abused, so what?
Yeah, well, it doesn't matter. And what's interesting, I found this in a lot of the responses from the members of Congress and the senators who are like, who could bring themselves to say, I believe Dr. Ford.
Yeah.
I think something happened
The
to
little
her.
lady just got it wrong.
Yeah, but she just got confused as to which one of these men attacked her, which I think is disgusting. But here's the thing. But it is worth it. Look, they've got a Supreme Court justice who's going to be there for 8,000 years. He's going to be like, people who are angry and mean like that. Those are the people who never die. They stay around forever. The issue is going to be whether or not any of this has an electoral impact. And the problem is, like I said before, former Congressman Jolly mentioned it. The Republicans are excited about their own people.
Yep.
But you look at Pennsylvania, New Mexico, Michigan, Minnesota, Iowa, all of these swing states that Trump won are about to get Democratic governors. That means no voter suppression in 2020.
Yep.
That means a lot of these states are going to go blue no matter who the Democrats won against Trump in 2020.
Yeah, minority rule works for a little while. Very quickly, wrapping it up, David Jolly, can Republicans survive on minority rule long term?
No, because the breaking moment culturally here is this. The American people have seen the Republican majority say, we don't believe women, and this is a war on white young men. When what they want to hear Republicans say is teach your kids that no means no, and sexually assaulting women is wrong.
Yeah, we should hope that that would be the message. David Jolly, Jason Johnson, thank you for bringing it in right on time. That is our show for today. Be sure to join me for AM Joy tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Eastern. Ali Velshi picks up our special coverage of the Kavanaugh confirmation right after this short break.